Back in the 1970s, a series of bizarre creature sightings in the state of Massachusetts caused panic and confusion across the country. It all began around 10 p.m. on April 21st, 1977, in the small town of Dover. 17-year-old William Bartlett was driving near a farm when he noticed a small humanoid figure crawling along a low stone wall beside the road. At first, he assumed it was just some kind of pet or farm animal. But the moment his headlights hit the creature, he realized he was looking at something completely outside anything he had ever seen before. According to Bartlett, the creature stood less than 4 feet tall. It had a humanoid shape, but its body proportions were disturbingly unnatural. Its head was enormous, almost oversized for its thin body. Its limbs were long and skinny, its fingers curled inward, and its entire body was hairless. The skin looked rough and pinkish-orange in color. When the creature turned and stared into the headlights, Bartlett saw 2 large, glowing orange eyes staring directly back at him. Terrified, Bartlett never stopped the car. He quickly drove away from the area. Even though the sighting lasted only 7 or 8 seconds, the image stayed burned into his memory. Later, he sketched the creature exactly as he remembered it, and even wrote beside the drawing that he swore on the Bible that what he saw was real. From the sketch alone, the creature seemed somewhat primate-like. But of course, the story of one teenager wasn't enough for most people to believe. Then, just 2 hours later, another sighting occurred. Around midnight on April 21st, 15-year-old John Baxter was walking home along Miller Hill Road when he encountered the same creature. At first, Baxter thought it was one of his friends trying to prank him. He even tried speaking to it, but the creature never responded. As he got closer, he realized it looked almost monkey-like, yet its body proportions were horribly distorted. Its feet clung tightly to a rock, while its upper limbs wrapped around a nearby tree. Under the stare of its pale, glowing eyes, Baxter suddenly felt intense fear and unease. He immediately ran back toward town. Later, Baxter also drew a sketch of the creature. Strangely, the features were nearly identical to Bartlett's drawing. But the story didn't end there. The very next night, April 22nd, a third sighting took place. 15-year-old Abby Brabham and 18-year-old Will Tainter were driving along Springdale Avenue when they saw the creature crossing the road. Brabham described it as having a massive egg-shaped head, long, thin limbs, and large, round eyes that glowed brightly in the darkness. Tainter only caught a quick glimpse of it, but he also described a creature with a huge head and a tan-colored body. Those are all the officially documented sightings of the Dover demon. What makes the case even stranger is that some researchers later noticed that all 3 sighting locations could almost be connected in a straight line on a map. Not long afterward, local media reportedly received information from police suggesting the entire thing may have been a hoax created by teenagers. But investigators later interviewed the witnesses individually and discovered something important. None of them had any connection to one another before the sightings happened. That made the possibility of a coordinated prank much harder to believe. Before long, news of a mysterious creature appearing in Dover spread across the world like wildfire and attracted the attention of scholars, investigators, and cryptozoologists. One of the first major investigators was famous cryptozoologist Loren Coleman, who eventually gave the creature its now famous name, the Dover Demon. Coleman believed the Dover Demon may have existed long before 1977, but nobody had seriously investigated it. During his research, he discovered that students at a local school had supposedly reported seeing small strange creatures in the woods years earlier during the early 1970s. There were also reports from 1972 claiming a similar creature had been seen near a pond off Springdale Avenue. Local police even organized searches of the area, but nothing was ever found. Then, just as suddenly as it appeared, the Dover Demon vanished. After those 2 nights of sightings, no further encounters were ever officially reported again. Researchers, adventurers, and curious locals searched for evidence for years, but the creature was never found. It was almost as if it had never existed at all. Even today, no new confirmed sightings of the Dover Demon have surfaced, and that raises the biggest question of all. Did this creature ever really exist? One popular explanation is that the witnesses may have simply seen a young moose or a baby horse under poor lighting conditions, causing confusion and distorted perception. Since all the witnesses were teenagers, some people believe their age and lack of experience may have influenced what they thought they saw. But personally, that explanation feels weak. I looked into images of both animals online, including their juvenile forms, and neither has the strange disproportionate head described by the witnesses. Their limb structures also don't match the reports at all. Then there's another important detail. In 2006, William Bartlett gave an interview about the incident. By that point, he was already 46 years old and had become a well-known artist. During the interview, he insisted he knew exactly what he saw that night and stated that he was a serious person who would never invent a story like that. Another theory suggests the Dover demon may have been extraterrestrial in origin. After all, the United States has a long history of UFO sightings, and the creature's oversized head closely matches the classic image many people associate with aliens. Massachusetts itself also experienced UFO reports back in 1952, which makes the theory sound somewhat plausible. However, in his 2013 book Monsters of Massachusetts, Loren Coleman argued that the Dover demon was not a ghost, fairy, or alien visitor. He believed it was a living but unexplained biological phenomenon. Even Bartlett himself said in interviews that he did not believe the creature was extraterrestrial. Because of that, the alien theory remains highly controversial. There's also a more mythological explanation. Some people believe the Dover demon may be connected to a creature from Cree mythology known as the Managishi. Managishi are usually described as small humanoid beings with long arms and legs, large hairless heads, huge eyes, and strange body proportions. They supposedly live among rocks near rivers and are known for playing tricks on humans. But after researching the legend more carefully, it becomes clear that many modern depictions of the Managishi have already been influenced by the Dover demon story itself. Traditional folklore actually describes them more like small, hairy dwarves wearing clothing, which is almost the opposite of the Dover demon. They also were never said to have glowing eyes or 6 fingers. Another legend from Massachusetts speaks of a race of small beings known as the Pukwudgies, originally described in Native American folklore as people of the wilderness. Pukwudgies were said to be small primitive humanoids with intelligence, hostility toward humans, gray skin, and unusually large ears and fingers. Some stories even claim they could use magic and had sharp quill-like spikes similar to a porcupine. But once again, there's no real evidence supporting these connections. Most of these stories survive only through oral tradition and folklore. It has now been nearly 45 years since the Dover demon was first seen, and to this day, the creature has never been officially identified. Personally, I think there is a possibility the creature existed, but not a very large one. From a cryptozoological perspective, stories of wild men, dwarves, and unknown humanoids have appeared all across the world throughout history. Some are clearly fake, while others remain difficult to explain. Take the giant squid, for example. Stories about it existed as far back as the 4th century BC, yet before its existence was officially confirmed in 2004, who would honestly have believed that an invertebrate animal could grow over 30 feet long? The reason I remain skeptical is because the witness descriptions still contain small differences and inconsistencies. At the same time, before the 1980s, there were still many species on Earth that had not yet been officially classified. Maybe the so-called Dover demon already exists somewhere within the natural world, and people simply never connected the dots. As always, the unknown will forever be greater than the known. And that is exactly what makes UMA so fascinating. That's it for today's video. Thanks for watching.